Hey there, everybody. Welcome back to RVCCIS.Info, the channel where faculty representatives from Rock Valley College's Computers and Information Systems Department talks to you, the community at large, about things, roughly speaking, having to do with computers and information systems. Today is part 2 in our exploration that was brought about by National CyberSecurity Awareness Month. So here in October, the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, CISA. Woo! The acronym is easier there. CISA has National Cybersecurity Awareness Month, and with all of us being at home on the internet more, that puts us at a much higher risk for all things bad to happen on the internet. So in our last episode, we talked about VPN services that you can use to help ensure that there are fewer prying eyes on your internet traffic. And today, what we'll talk about is password managers. Have at it. So before maybe we start talking about password managers, we should probably define what they do for us.
Yeah, I actually use one. I pay for one. I think it's come to be known that I pay for stuff. So Eric and Jim are the cheapos in the group.
Yeah.
So I have a password manager because I have so many passwords. I only have to remember one giant password, and the password manager takes care of everything else for me. And you can also have it automatically generate passwords for you. It works. The one I use, which we'll talk about in a minute, it works great because it just puts a lock in your password box, and you just click on it and it'll fill it for you, and then it'll save it in the password manager. So it works out really great. There's browser add-ons, there's apps for your phone, so you can use it across the board. It's really nice.
Yep. And the whole point is to have more highly secure passwords. So both of us having worked, in computers in general, but in fields with security or in fields where security and users overlap, we can tell you how abysmal your passwords probably are. I have literally, so I used to work at a nonprofit, and we had 2 schools right inside of our building. And it was common knowledge that our admin for our at-risk school kept her password right on the back of her monitor in case she ever lost it. And maybe the most glaring security flaw there was the back of her monitor faced the hallway. So all you had to do was walk past, and everybody came into Miss Dye's class or the room in there all the time. And she, luckily, she was generally super well loved, and nobody was going to take advantage of that. But I'm like, could we please take that off? That, at least hide it someplace else. Put it under your keyboard. Make them work the slightest amount for that. Yeah. So what a password manager does is remove any of the onus from you, the user, to have to come up with a new password every time. It removes the onus from you, the user, from having to remember those from one device to another, one site to another, one service to another. Everything can be totally unique. And so long as somebody doesn't get access to your password manager, they won't have access to your passwords. And that is far and away preferable to you using your crappy, probably already out in the wild username and password that would be easy to guess and or easy to crack.
Yeah, one of our employers that works with us, this Joe Granaman from Information.io, he can get into companies very easily just by going out on the dark web, finding a username and password that is out there for everybody to look at, and hack into a company. So you got to be pretty careful with your passwords. They're probably, if you haven't changed them in years, they're probably already somewhere to be sold.
Yeah.
So I use LastPass, and that happens to have a free version. And if we look at the CNET guide, it was just from a couple weeks ago, I believe.
Yep.
October 16th. So it's fairly new. I use LastPass, free version. I decided it was good enough. Well, I looked at when I bought it, and it was right when I was with a whole bunch of security professionals at a conference. And I think we found a deal on it, and I bought it because if it's good software, I feel like that the software developers deserve to get paid.
Oh yeah.
So you have a free version and you have the paid for version, but it works with everything. I will say though, it doesn't work as well on my tablet as I would like.
Okay.
So I have the, what do I have?
The S7 or S6?
Yeah, I have, yeah, the 7, I think. No, not my Samsung tablet. It's my,
iPad?
yeah, my iPad. It doesn't
That's
work very well.
surprising.
But LastPass lately has been real slow on some of my devices. So like, well, I have a Pixel phone and it's a Pixel 3 and I've had decent luck with it, but every once in a while that LastPass doesn't pop up and it won't work over the top of everything else. So every once in a while I have to restart my phone. But I don't know, maybe I need to do some updating on the iPad. I don't know.
Yeah, it's unusual, but
Yeah.
nothing's
No.
perfect.
Right. But I have the extension on Mozilla Firefox, and then I have the extension on Chrome. Both work great, work wonderfully. I only have to remember one huge password. I have a really long password. One of the gentlemen from the Department of Defense, he works for them, and he's like, I always do an odd numbered password. So it's an odd number, not an even number, and it's at least 15 characters or above. I'm like, So I started doing that with LastPass because there's no way I'll remember anything else. So, but I like it, and it's free, you know.
Or paid, but either one.
Yeah. There's go ahead. Sorry.
No, I agree with paying for software because if it gives you a service that reduces, especially for something security like this, the very first time somebody makes a purchase on your credit card, you will have gone through more than, I think it's $36 a year or something for LastPass. And you will go through more like heartache and bullshit than $36 worth is. And it's worth it every time because, just because you didn't have a hack happen doesn't mean it wasn't worth having that to prevent you from it. Like, it's the reason we lock our doors, right? Probably nobody's going to break in, but you still lock them.
Right.
The same here with the password manager. Pay for them.
Yeah, and what I did was, because my passwords were getting saved in Chrome, because I wasn't paying attention. For the longest time, I wasn't paying attention.
Right.
And then when I started, I've been using LastPass for a couple years now. So I've been using it for free for a couple years. And I was able to export my passwords from Chrome and import them into LastPass easily.
Yep.
So I did that, and then I deleted all my Chrome passwords. Everything that was saved in Chrome, I got rid of. And then I'm slowly changing those passwords because Lord knows if they got hacked or not. And then I did the same thing with Mozilla, or Firefox. And so that seems to have worked really well. But there's plenty of other password managers out there. Another good one that CNET likes is it only has a trial version, so it doesn't have a free version, and it's about the same. It's about $36 a year, and that's 1Password.
Yeah, I used to use 1Password, and it's great. It's really very similar to LastPass. It was available everywhere, so everybody knows I have Macs. And it was the first one that I came across that I liked the integration I had with the Mac. So that was really worth it. I will say, on the free side, I guess I don't suggest this every place because, like Stephanie had mentioned with Chrome is, could you have Chrome manage all of your passwords for you? Sure. Yeah. But you're only ever this far away then from having all of your passwords in the wild if somebody can get into your Chrome, so your Gmail, Google account. And this is certainly true on the Mac side too. But for those of you who have a Mac, for those of you who have or are willing to use Safari on your Mac, actually through the operating system, so Mac OS, and down here I'm pointing at an iPad OS. It's actually baked into the operating system now. So you have to authenticate with either Touch ID, or somebody has to have your face, which I find to be, if they either have my thumb or my face, I'm in deeper trouble. Then are they going to make a charge to my credit card? Like, I don't care. I need my face back. Um, so it's built into the operating system. And one of the things I like that it does, aside from absolve me of having to remember passwords, by suggesting really huge, really ugly passwords that are not guessable, is if I use an old password in combination with a user ID, it'll actually tell me this user ID and password combination have been discovered on the dark web. Please change this now, and it'll actually change it now for me, which is great because then whatever the next device is that I pick up, the new password is on there, and I've become more secure already. So because again, I'm the cheapskate, and because I've invested, $40,000, it feels like, in all of these Apple products, you've got to have an alarming chunk of my, being in order for that to happen. So I'm okay with just using those. But if you're on the free side of thing, there's another one called KeyPass, and you can find that again in the link that we'll have down in the description below. And that one is free, and they will accept donations. And like we've said in these last 2 episodes, we pay for software because, as I'll engineer software occasionally, and as people who, know what it's like to pay for real professional products for organizations, you pay to keep that software up to date. And even if that's something that you don't have to do. So KeyPass, again, here in the description below, is free, but it's donationware. And if you find that you use it, even just a $10, $15 donation, you don't have to go $36 a year or anything. Those investments really help the developers keep that solution there and viable for you, hopefully for a long time.
Yeah, and we were talking about VPNs earlier, and some of the VPNs are now bundling the password
Yep.
manager with the VPN. So like NordVPN has a password manager. I haven't personally used it, but I would be interested to see, because it would be nice just to have one company for me, but probably won't happen because I don't want to have to export all my passwords.
Yeah, right. It's the barrier to entry that keeps people away, right? So the harder it is to get it to work the first time, the less likely you are to stick with it. So that's why, our recommendations would be, I think, probably first and foremost, LastPass. Because it's just so easy to use. 1Password is great. If am I totally crazy saying it is certainly a step up if you let Chrome suggest gnarly passwords for you?
You sure? But then
I think it's
Chrome
at
is
least
still
better than
storing it.
using, Mr. Mostly Mittens or whatever the name of your cat is, or, certainly having your birthday in there or anything like that. I think that that's a reasonable first step that a lot of our users could probably do.
Yeah, and I had somebody, this was a long time ago, it was a security manager for Chase, I believe. He worked for Chase, and he worked for another big company, like maybe Bank of America or something, as a security expert. And he always had like his favorite quote, and in whatever favorite quote it was of the year, and it was a really long password. So it was the favorite quote, and it was whatever he decided each word letter would be. And so I've kind of used that where I'm like, oh shoot, I can't remember my big long password. And now I have it memorized, but in the beginning I couldn't remember it. But I would look at my quote, and then I would know I could get it. So I thought that was a great idea.
Yeah, absolutely. So if anybody else has any great ideas for what to do to help you manage your passwords or remember your big gnarly passwords, be sure to leave that in the comment below, or in the comments rather, below. I know even when we teach rather our CIS 102 courses, it's one of the things I always do. I know Chuck and Stephanie probably do as well, is mention these are good paradigms for passwords. And you'll see that again, if I don't break my table, in a future episode here on our show, is some good password paradigms if you don't want to have a service remember them for you. While you're down there letting us know in the comments, be sure to hit that like and subscribe if you like the content, and hit that bell if you want to be made aware of any and all of our future episodes as they come available. We're going to try and drop more short form episodes here. I'm going to say we, and I will put the onus on me to begin with. Smaller snapshots of things that you can do to slowly become better technology users. So look for those coming down the pike here as well. While you're out there, you can follow us on our social media. We are on Twitter, Facebook, Anchor.fm, and here clearly at YouTube, at RVCCIS.Info, so you can find us that way. On behalf of Stephanie Washer, myself, Eric Wolf, Chuck and Jim, and the rest of the Greater Rock Valley College community, stay safe and stay sane out there, everybody, even if that means just with your passwords.
Right.